Chapter 5. The riverbed spilled into the edge of the Vettersea. Astrid wrangled a straight branch from a nearby rowan, then proceeded to use the stick to beat the ice, testing its stability. She placed her foot on the frozen bridge, the mossy rocks of the shore visible beneath the thin layer of ice. Her blood pulsed like drums in her ears. Within moments, the clash of metal against metal clanked in the distance. Astrid stopped, leaning over, her heart surging. Balin stands nigh chance against 6. She straightened and listened. The frantic pace of combat increased, the blows quickening. If I go back, I risk all my mother has fought to achieve. Balin's banter echoed through the distance as he sparred with the slayers, grunting as he returned their attacks. Astrid's mind emptied of all reasoning. She dropped her supply pack and turned back to the battle. She grabbed the hilt of her sword as her legs propelled her forward. When the cold, slick iron met her palm, her instincts took over. Her worry, her logic, her indecision, gone. All that was left was silence and action. The sun sunk over the horizon as the soft light of twilight washed over the land. Astrid scampered down the riverbed and spotted the melee in the distance. Her mother remained on the rock behind her warrior, bent with exhaustion. 6 men, all armored, made a semicircle around the two. Balin returned their lunges and slashes, but one broke through, catching him across his leg, tearing open his trousers and ripping his flesh. At the sight of Balin's blood, Astrid's pace surged. She lightened her step and ran, her feet silent as they hit the ground. She measured her breath, making it inaudible as air filled her lungs. Sliding her sword from its sheath, she circled the attackers and slid in behind them. With one fluid movement, she slashed the back of one man's neck and caught another's sword arm, disarming him. His steel flew 100 paces in the air, sailing over the top of her mother's and Balin's heads to land in the riverbed. 2 more assailants swung around at the cries of their comrades, while the other 2 remained engaged with Balin. All 6 warriors possessed an otherworldly quality in both their slenderness and the tone of their skin, which was pale, but without the reddish tinge of a Scandian.
"Where did she come from?"
yelled one.
"I don't know, but she has the taint of the mother on her, like the woman. Nay, she carries a sword. One with the touch cannot bear a weapon,"
observed a third. The unarmed man pointed at the man writhing on the ground, his neck slashed and oozing blood.
"She did him a good measure of harm."
"She's the one our master wants. Leave her unharmed."
"Unharmed?"
asked the first.
"How do you suggest we do that?"
"The man on the left,"
said Balin as he dodged and parried.
"He is slow with both his block and his wits. The one on the right takes ill care of his equipment, as shown by the nicks running the length of his blade."
Astrid nodded, taking the lead. She delivered a series of lightning-speed blows to the slow-witted man, unarming him within a breath. Then she whacked at the second man's blade. He returned her blows. His blade slipped through her guard, running the length of her stomach. She reeled back momentarily, but remained unharmed. In the fury of combat, she had forgotten she wore armor. Balin's gift left her untouched. She lunged and hacked at the man's blade again and again, until the poorly maintained weapon snapped in half. Balin said,
"Now this one here, he's full of anger and hatred. Number 2 over there steps too close to my guard for his longer sword." "Shut up!"
yelled one of the attackers, thrusting at Balin. Balin allowed the angry man to come at him, simply blocking him until the strength in the man's arms failed. Balin delivered his sword through the man's chest, sending him to the frozen ground. The last remaining soldier dropped his sword and bolted, along with the others, dragging their injured with them. Astrid scrambled to her mother, kneeling down in front of her. Isla placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder and smiled. Astrid's blood quickened at her mother's approval, but a frown quickly pulled her mother's lips downward. "You disobeyed me, daughter." Astrid deflated, but her mother's grip remained on her shoulder. "Perhaps I've misjudged you, Astrid. Maybe it's your determination to face a fight when all the odds are against you that will save us from the shadow." Balin slapped Astrid across the back, adding, "You did well. You followed your instinct and directed the flow of the fight. I am thankful I wasn't at the end of your blade." Astrid stood and grinned at Balin. He grabbed each of her shoulders in his meaty hands, as if he wanted to hug her but didn't know how. "We have time to seek cover before they regroup or send reinforcements. The village of Ramsby is not far from here. I can tend to my wound and find us shelter," Balin announced. Astrid shook her head, pulling out of Balin's grip. "The danger is past for now, surely." Astrid continued to protest, backing up. She stowed her blade. "Nay, Balin, she is right. Astrid remains a danger to all until she learns to sing the ward. We must tend to your wound and stop the bleeding before your life falters. Besides, I am unable to protect her anymore." Astrid bent down and kissed her mother's forehead, smoothing her hair from her face. "I love you, Mama," she wanted to say, but no words would come. Instead, she turned to stalk off, but Balin caught her by her sleeve. "If I can get your mother back to Alfenheim, where she can hear the song of the mother, she may heal." Astrid searched Balin's face. The grizzled man beamed at his thought. "I've never tried before because I knew we must protect you, and she refused me. But now—" The young woman smiled. Hope lit inside her for the first time in her life. "I promise you, Astrid, on my honor and on my life, I will find a way to the realm of the elves, or I will die trying. Your mother will not leave this world without a fight." Tears burned the edges of Astrid's eyes. She forced herself to keep them in check. "Thank you, Balin. Thank you for loving my mother so much." Balin released her, and Astrid turned quickly to hide her emotions, leaving her mother and Balin once and for all.